God in you and the God in me will lead us where we're meant to be. Isn't that a good positive thought? And it's so true. It is so true. Now, something led you to be here this morning, and we are glad you made that choice. This is a holiday weekend, and many people do have other plans. And anytime there's a holiday, people get excited. They have a day they don't have to go to work. This particular holiday, after a long winter, is often celebrated because people want to have picnics and parties and barbecues and all kinds of things. We don't want to forget the meaning behind this particular holiday. It is Memorial Day. It's to remember. It's to remember those who have passed. You know, once upon a time it was called Decoration Day because people would go to cemeteries and decorate the graves. And in some parts of our country, particularly in smaller towns, that's still a very strong tradition. We may not do that. We may not be in a location where family members have been laid to rest. And even if we are, you know, as spiritualists, and I do get questioned about this, as spiritualists, we may not feel the need to go and decorate a grave. Now that doesn't mean we don't love that person just as much as we always love that person. It does mean that we know they're not there. We know that is just the shell of the physical. Our loved one isn't there forever, for all eternity. Our loved ones are right here, all around us, communicating with us, letting us know that they are still with us. And of course they still love us. Of course they may still make suggestions. Many people have loved ones, family, and friends in the world of spirit who always made suggestions when they were here on the earth plane, whether we particularly asked for their advice or not. And of course, they still may have that personality quirk, even though they're in the higher side of life. That's okay. We know they did that out of their love for us. And they were well-meaning. They thought they knew what was best. Now, I don't care what your age bracket is. I would just about guarantee that there is someone in your life that you think really needs to do some things differently. You're quite sure you know something that would be better for them. And no matter your age or station in life, I bet there's somebody else here on this earth plane who thinks the same thing about you. And isn't that wonderful that we all love each other so much that we want to help others? You know, as spiritualists, we encourage people to go within, to strengthen that God spark within, because we know we're all children of God. We know we have that part of the divine within us. And if we could just focus a little more on that God spark within us, we could be a lot less judgmental about others and what's going on with them. When we encourage people to develop their sensitivity, to take time to pray, to take time to meditate, it's not just about the spirit communication. Of course, it's wonderful to know our loved ones are still around us, and it's wonderful to get words of encouragement. But when we ask you to pray and to meditate, it's for your own development. We don't walk this path alone. And isn't that reassuring? Now, we know we have had many times where we thought, I knew I shouldn't have done that, or I kept getting pushed to do it, and I kept resisting, and oh, am I sorry. Well, we do have a lot of assistance from the higher side of life. People will wear glasses or contact lens. People will hear or use hearing devices to hear more clearly. People will use, I used to say slide rules and calculators. I'm showing my age, aren't I? Now people use computers and the internet. We think nothing of it. These things are here for our use. Of course we're going to take advantage of them. Of course we're going to learn and grow and accomplish faster that way. And yet we have the resources of our Creator, of infinite intelligence, and all of those who have gone to the world of spirit. We have our guides that are with us daily. Do we ask? Do we consult? Do we ignore? It's our choice. It's our choice. We do know that there is not going to be a last-minute reprieve thanks to a Savior God. We know that our spiritual growth is completely in our own hands. And whether we accomplish it as well as possible here or keep putting it off and putting it off until we go to the higher side of life, that is our choice. That is our choice. But look around you. We have wonderful friends right here. Don't you want to be in the same vibration when you go to the higher side of life? I do. I do. So it behooves me to spend that time with Spirit and to learn from each one of you. Now, sometimes lessons can be painful. We can get frustrated if we get tied up in traffic, or if something prevents us from leaving on time and then we're going to be late at our destination. And that can be very aggravating for those of you who pride yourselves in being prompt. I often say the only time in my life I have ever been early was when I was born. I'd like to blame it on my optimism. I always want to accomplish one more thing before I go out the door. Well, you know, there are times when you are delayed in leaving for your destination, no matter how determined you were. And it may have already come to your attention. You may get a ways down the road and hear that there was a dreadful accident, or hear that weather conditions closed a road. And if you had left when you had planned, you may have been caught right in the middle of that situation. Usually we recognize that, and usually we remember to say thank you to our guides. But you know what's interesting to me is how many times that surely happens and we had no realization of it at all. We just go through our daily lives blissfully unaware of how many times Spirit steps in and assists us. Now, going back to the personal responsibility, we encourage everyone to set goals of all kinds. We have to achieve certain things here on the earth plane, and we certainly want to achieve certain things spiritually.